But you can go ahead and say.
Well, just that he was in a very bad accident, head on, and 21, that was that one.
Oh.
And he died. Oh, no, he's been very helpful to the ADRC and many other people.
Yeah.
Well, so.
Very active with the Amish community. He did a lot of transport for the Amish. So it was, it hit us pretty hard. His service is today at 1 o'clock, so when the meeting's over, some of us are hightailing it.
Where is it?
It's in Red Granite. Yeah,
Okay.
so yeah.
But thank goodness we have some highlights too that are smiley, and that is Debbie's birthday. And
Oh,
Happy birthday.
she's at the start of the month and she's at the end of the month.
well, there we go. Happy birthday.
Mine is too, but I don't like that.
Is it really?
26th.
Oh,
That's mine.
Yours too?
Yeah,
All good people were born.
yeah, my grandmother used to say that all the time.
Isn't that odd? And Becca and I have the same birthday.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm Saturday.
Oh, man, I got some.
So we don't celebrate Valentine's Day because it's the lesser of two holidays.
The cheapskates don't buy it. Oh,
She gets whatever she wants, whenever she wants.
I'd also like to introduce Ashton. He'll be with us here and. And whatever, so, we won't, have you introduce everybody and have you remember who they all are. We're a good group as if you haven't recognized that.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have anybody here for public comments, so we'll move on to adoption of the agenda.
Motion to approve?
A second, Dave?
Yes, and.
Who did the second?
David?
David, all in favor, say aye. Opposed? All right, and the approval of the minutes. Motion and the second again.
Motion for.
Hello?
Second.
Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Say no. And reports from our board members. Any reports this time? Kind of a quiet time, I think, for all of us.
I've got a lot of reports.
Yes, okay. Well, we'll quickly move on then to advocacy issues.
Has anyone heard about the elders task force that Wisconsin has put together?
No,
No.
I haven't.
I will, share some information then with those of you who have email addresses. But they're very active right now. I think I sent it, did I not send an email to some of you about, the healthy aging grant? Yeah. So they're working on a number of initiatives, healthy aging, issues with kiosks that people are getting taken advantage of, especially older people in the gas stations. The transportation issue related to the insurance issue that we have where insurance companies are saying that they have to charge a huge amount more money for people if they're transporting another person and getting paid for it, even though we don't pay our volunteer drivers. We reimburse them their mileage, but the insurance companies look at that as pay. So there's a lot of advocacy going on about that. The funding for the healthy aging programs was in there as well. So there's a lot going on right now, and I think what I'll do is just forward that, and I can print, I'll see how long it is.
On my phone, I have
You have it?
an email address now, so.
Oh, okay, okay, perfect. So realistically,
That's great.
if I send it to you and if any of these things, strike you as super important or you have a heart for, realistically, right now is the time to contact the legislators and say, have you co-signed on, will you co-sign on to these? There is some good movement. There's one now that I just learned about maybe last week, one day, related to home delivered meals. So really, really important that we are active and talking. I email legislators all the time and some of them send you something back and some don't. And it's always fun when I do get a message back from them. So it's really easy to email, but you can also pick up the phone and give a call and that, so. The elders task force though, they're working on the extra funds that the state, has that abundance of funds and how they can put that to good use. And so, we have some needs for sure, so. I will email that out then to everybody after the meeting and you can look through it. That's it for advocacy.
Anyone else? Report from the director.
All right, I want to ask a question. We were talking about the cold weather earlier. Can you come up with any good reason for negative 42 degrees?
Those mosquitoes.
Okay, kill mosquitoes. Anything else? How about that's when our walk-in freezer decides to have issues?
No.
Yeah,
I wish you could put it outside.
so we did. If you notice the big sheriff's trailer out there for a while, that had our $10,000 worth of food.
Better now than in summer when it's 90 in the shade.
That's why I said anything good about negative 42. And
It's gotta go. This is a good
I
time.
like that approach. I like the way you did that.
Right. It turned out to be, Mike and I thought it was going to be like a full replacement of the condensing unit. But it wasn't. It was just some little switch thing, which I can't explain very well. But it took, ordering the parts. So thank goodness it was cold all of those days because we saved that food.
Oh, man.
I think you caught it too.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe on a weekend or something.
Right. I mean, we would have, we do have the kitchen at the jail if we needed to pack some things in there. Likewise, if they ever needed us to use the schools possibly,
Yep.
depending.
Ever.
There's always options, but, better that we were able to just pack it into the trailer and call it good and hope, fingers crossed, that things were gonna be okay. So interestingly enough, in our, 2026 CIP fund, we do have replacement for the condensing unit for the walk-in kitchen, so I'll talk with Mike later in the year to see if we want to just move forward with replacing that or not, and then that process of how do we do that, how do we thin down the food enough so that we can then, yeah. So that was an interesting thing, and then during the cold weather recently here, we also had the garage door at the highway department break down, and it's where we kept all the vehicles, so they had to be outside because we couldn't get in and out. Fixed as well. They're with our chair and did decide to move forward with hiring the Coloma Hancock site manager. The person we hired, just very unique person, has been a county board supervisor in the past. Is very active with a lot of committees and recruitment efforts, and we thought, as long as she understands that this might not be a forever position, and she completely understood the situation we're in. So we did move forward with hiring her, and she's in the training process. We hired an additional site substitute manager. And we also did hire a transportation coordinator to replace Mary, who is leaving later this spring here. So he actually starts on Monday. His name is Corey Schreiner, and he's from the Red Granite area. I don't know if anyone's familiar with him at all, but so looking forward to that. When we were interviewing, we actually had some really good candidates, and I was looking for, is there anybody that could either fill a role of office manager along with transportation coordinator, or transportation coordinator who also could drive? And Corey fills that role where he, rather than needing a lot more part-time drivers, where he could just jump in and go and do it himself. He has a lot of experience with transportation, CDL license, all of that. So really excited about the hire. He seems really excited about the position as well, so. What's that?
Can you plow too?
Oh, actually, yes. Oh. Oh, okay, yeah. I think he does that.
You guys would too, probably.
He does that right now, but he'll be busy during the day.
Yeah.
Monday and Friday.
So it's like we have two really good people that fill those positions.
Yes,
Wonderful.
yes, right. So with the transportation transition, Mary has offered to extend her retirement date, and at first I was like, no, we don't need you to do
I
that.
thought she was already gonna be gone.
Her last day was supposed to be March 20th. And she kept bringing it up to me, and so we talked it out a little bit. And I said, well, why, why would you wanna do that? And I'm not gonna go into her personal story, but she's more than willing to. She has a close to 4-week vacation planned in Florida during the month of April. So we'll still look at March 20th as her last full-time day. And then I still have to talk to Megan, and which I'm meeting with her tomorrow, but then I would put her down to, we like provide a leave of absence and then put her down to part-time status. And then afterwards, she'll come back for just a few days, like, 2 weeks worth of time, maybe. Up to 2 weeks, I guess, but scattered about not 5 days a week. And help with the finalizing of the training, which really is a benefit to us because we can extend that out. And then really focus in on the billing, and then also some of the bigger things that we wanna talk about, like, for example, like our guideline book, we're in the process of updating it. Well, if we can do that along with Corey, it will be even better than if we just did it and said, here's the book. That he can be a part of the reasons why we are making the recommended changes that we'll be making. So a win-win, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. Mary and I spent, I don't know if I reported this last month or not, but we spent hours upon hours upon hours getting that transportation software and working for us and writing queries. So I've learned how to do queries now. I'm excited about that. And there was a problem with the software, which is why it was so complicated, and we elevated it to the company and they're elevating it up the chain. So that's why we were so confused with everything. But we managed to work some workarounds, so now we have things set up, so we run a report, we copy it, drop it into something that we have manually made ourselves, and boom, report's done, and so it's super nice. So I told Mary she should have stuck around for another year at least. Have some relaxed environment rather than being stressed out all the time.
Did she bite on that?
Yeah. Actually, she did talk to her husband about it, and he pretty much said no. I did want to mention, I just received a letter late last week, I believe it was, dated February, I can't tell. But anyway, from Inclusa, and Inclusa is a managed care organization. And we are a provider of them for both meals and transportation service. And they are letting us know that effective April 1st, they will no longer be using us as a transportation provider because they have worked out a contract agreement with MTM. And MTM is the statewide Medicaid transportation provider. So that is interesting news, and I would say a little bit concerning because we do get a lot of complaints about the MTM provider for people where they oftentimes can't find transportation for people to get to their appointments, or they bring them one way and then they forget to go pick them up.
Oh, boy.
Things like that. So we're a little bit concerned about that. And it's also an instant reduction of about $10,000 in revenue for us that we picked up. So that was not good news to get in that way. Now, they did say if we want to consider being a provider for MTM, we certainly can reach out to them. I have looked into that in the past, and MTM and other providers for Medicaid services, they don't reimburse well. So you don't even get close to what your full costs are. And so from my perspective, it wasn't worth it for the county to have to pick up the other part of that cost. And so, I mean, we could look into it again, but I highly doubt it's gonna be any different than what it's been in the past, so that was discouraging. Now, hopefully we can pick up some clients under My Choice, who we actually typically have more rides through that program anyway, but we don't know whether they're going down the same road, and whether they're gonna be making this decision as well. So I'm gonna try to find out if that's the case, but if that is the case, then it changes a lot for us as a transportation, what we're able to provide with the funds that we have to work with, so. And other than that, right now, we're just really busy working on some general program Amanda's busy getting all of her spring and summer health classes scheduled in all 3 counties. Marty's working on a a caregiver skills fair to take place in May and a powerful tools class. And, we're gonna be doing a power of attorney, program with Human Services like we did last year. That's gonna be in April, I believe, April 16th is the date for that. I think that's the date. So a lot going on. It's been busy.
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's already the middle of February.
Yeah, right. It's amusing.
Yeah, hard to believe. So, but that's the end of my report.
Okay, very good. Any comments along the way? Thank you for doing all that. Nutrition Sustainability Work Group update.
Yeah, so we haven't had another meeting since, the last, board meeting that we had. But, in the meantime, Valerie has finally made the switch from our 6 routes down to 5 routes, which is something, that she's been trying to get to for a while. Wasn't an easy thing to do. So we did combine, we had developed an extra northeast route. I called it the COVID route. It was during the pandemic. And then I just felt that it was time for us to see if we could merge those based on the number of people, and it will be a savings for us. So we just did that on February 2nd, and we're monitoring how much time it's taking. I think the concern now was that we're delivering 2 meals on Mondays and Wednesdays rather than 1 meal, and so it does take longer. And we can only have that food out there for so long, so many hours, and then, you have to get it in within so many hours to the people, so we're hoping that it works, but now, of course, since we did it, we've had 3 or 4 requests, and they all fall on that same route, so. We're really getting close to pushing that, what do we do? Do we start implementing a wait list and say we just can't accommodate you on that route? Or do we go back to 3, you know what I mean? And so that's the ongoing debate that we have. Yeah, so, along that line, there is something that I don't know if we've talked about it at this board meeting or not. It's called, prioritization for home delivered meals, and it's during the assessment process, you go through it's the same process of assessing whether somebody qualifies for home delivered meals, but there's a prioritization within that. So I think we have mentioned it here. So you two might be assessed equally, and you might have a higher level of need on that score sheet than you do. And so we might at some point include that in our wait list policy, where if you're not at a high enough risk, we're sorry, but you're not eligible for meals right now, but you are because you're at a higher level of priority.
And that cause somebody to get bumped off the list also, if they're,
If they were on, you mean if we
if they
were,
were already getting.
yeah, I think so, yeah.
Wow.
So we're gonna start incorporating that into our assessment process, but we're not going to, at this point, implement a wait list. We would certainly come and talk to you before we would do something like that. And I know that Megan is not in favor of us having a wait list for home delivered meals, so, but you hear the dilemma when I just said that we combined the 2 routes, and now it's like, can we accommodate, and so what are some other things we might be able to do then is potentially, for some people who maybe are further out in the areas, maybe do a bulk delivery once a week or something. Look at things like that. So that's something that we'll be studying in the next few months, and, but we are going to incorporate into 2026 a very thorough reassessment process with everybody who's on home delivered meals. We're required to do, it's suggested that we do it every 6 months. It's required at least once a year. And so it's very time consuming though, but we want to do that for a couple of reasons. We do it, it's just, we don't always get to the 6-month mark, but we want to make sure we do it in 2026 so that we can have this prioritized assessment completed in case we need to implement that in some way. And now at least we'd have the information then.
Which might change too.
Yeah, it very well could you mean with an individual?
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
So,
But it's good to have it, initially. That's
yeah.
good.
And do you know how many meals are delivered on a weekly basis through the county?
On a weekly, I would have to do the math. Every day we're doing, it's about 100 anywhere between, say, 95 and 110 people a day. But on a Monday, we're providing 2 meals for them for Monday and Tuesday, and on a Wednesday, we're providing 2 for Wednesday, Thursday. And then on Fridays, we're providing 1 plus weekend meals.
Are there any fringe areas that say close to Wapaka that or one of their counties that we can share the responsibilities or back and forth or?
We do that sometimes. Usually the other counties don't want to, because the reason why it's a hardship for us is probably a hardship for them as well too. Like very costly to deliver to that area. So, but we have done it at times where we've provided for them or.
You've looked at it, it doesn't work.
Yeah. There's a whole process for making that work, but also within that, the whole donation, or I should say contribution for home delivered meals is something we want to look at because over the years, so it's a very touchy, process wherein it's supposed to be a confidential process. However, we send statements to our participants, but we let them know this is not a bill, this is just a statement. And there's certain language the state says we have to use in order to let them know that they will not be denied a meal if they're not able to contribute. So we say, this is how many meals you've had for the month, and then this is, what the suggested contribution rate is, and then we put a total. And most people pay the full amount, but there are some people who don't. They'll pay like $2 a meal or whatever. They'll just send in a 50 or a 20 or whatever, and that's allowable. However, over the years, we've had more and more people not contributing anything. And so we're gonna start looking into, as part of our nutrition sustainability, looking into a pledge process. So that when we're doing the assessments, if they say, oh, I can't afford $5 a meal, they say, well, is there an amount that you're able to contribute that you would be comfortable with? Could you pledge for $3 a meal or $1 a meal, even just something to help with, I'm not sure if the state heard me saying that right now, if they would agree with what I just said, but we're gonna look into it. There are other states that use the pledge process, and I think if Wisconsin's not using it right now, they should really consider it because it's expensive. Yeah, so that's something that we're looking at doing, this spring as well. And then, of course, we're working on the pop-up event ideas, which we'll talk about later, and, looking at starting that men's only lunch. I think we brought that up here last time. And I just wanted to mention too that, our regional office, GWAR, they received a $1.5 million donation that they are spreading out to the counties for home delivered meals. That was exciting.
Nice.
However, how they've put it out to the counties at this point is that they're only making it available for the most part if you have a waiting list already, and you can then remove the people off the waiting list. So
Well,
a lot of us felt it was really a little bit unfair because we've done really hard work
Yeah.
to prevent that from happening.
Yeah.
And now we're not.
Now you're gonna get punished for it.
Funds, yeah.
Yeah, penalized.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all your hard work.
I know.
Do more hard work. Do it less.
Right. So I'm gonna, though, continue to pursue some creative ideas of how we might be able to be eligible for some of the funding. I'm not sure it'll be effective, but I do think they're gonna end up changing their priorities as well, because I don't think a lot of people, because it's only for 1 or 2 years, and so why would you, let's say like right now we do deliver 3 days a week, and we said, oh, let's go for a grant where we can deliver 5 days a week. And let's say they approved it first, why would we do that to only 1 or 2 years later from now go back to say, oh, sorry?
Yeah.
Right, get used to it and all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Pull the rug out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't be good.
So I think they're gonna end up needing to change their mind on how they're doing some things, but that's where we're at right now. So that's what we're doing with sustainability.
Very good. Financial reports are next.
Yeah, financial has been a hot topic for January. Obviously, we closed out the year and we are doing a lot of reports, which is typical at this time for 2025. I did not bring well, you do have the financial report that I had over there. We can look at that in detail. I actually don't have a copy myself, but I can get one if needed. Here.
I just would like all of your revenues to be at 17,000%.
Is that the $22,000 one?
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, so if you want to take a deeper dive into this, we certainly can spend some time on it. And also I will bring, thank you. I will bring a more detailed final one in March for you that you can see. But yeah, let's take a look at revenues first. That's the one that's the 2-pager. Like if you look at the section that says intergovernmental grant and aids right there. And let's look at the one that's 105,879. You can see that I did an amendment to that grant that happens to be our congregate dining center money of $8,755 because our contract came in at a higher rate. So our final amount for 2025 was $114,634. And as of today, we received 90,500 back. However, you can see that under available budget, 24,134, that's spent and that's coming. So that reimbursement is still on its way. So everything under intergovernmental grants will be at 100%. It just hasn't been booked hasn't been credited to the books yet. So, so that's good. So we're good, in good shape there. And then, the section public charges for services. That's where you're gonna see some variation of how we did. If you look at that first one there, that's Medicaid reimbursement for the Elder Benefit Specialist Program. It's significantly lower than what we budgeted, but the reason why is because we didn't have an Elder Benefit Specialist for about half a year. So they're not gonna draw down money if they're not in the position. Whereas you can see with the with the ADRC employees, who do Medicaid drawdown, we budgeted $175,000, but we're at $210,000, much higher than we anticipated. So now Michelle and Becca and I are analyzing that to see, was that a one-time deal, or is this gonna be something that we can depend on from year to year? I want to point out with the ADRC services, there is no direct county levy involved with it, but the 200, that extra 35,000 could be used to enhance our staffing model, because we went with the most conservative staffing model when we transitioned. Because I wasn't sure, what would the change from a multi-county ADRC to a single county be? So this is very positive news right there, that we will have some funds to work with, and it might even be higher than that when we look at everything combined. So I don't need to go through every little thing with you, but I just wanted to show you kind of how to read this so that you can study it. There is still some revenue coming in under public charges that hasn't, again, posted to the books yet. Most of that is under purchase of service, and the system we're working with, it cuts off the description, so you're not able to really read in full what it is sometimes. But does anything stick out to you as questionable?
Not in February.
So this is the 2025 though. Yeah, yes. I don't even think we can run reports yet for 2026. So there will be some closing entries that I will make in relationship to some of this revenue. For example, the $22,000 that we received in that estate, the $22,974. The $5,000 that we received from the gentleman for transportation, we didn't need it this year, so we'll put it in and use it like we talked about at the prior meeting. And I think there was $100 donation for urgent needs that we didn't have anything to apply it to, so it wasn't used. And then there was a little bit of the home delivered meal donation money that we're going to be able to save for this year as well. So then if you look at the expense one, which is the bigger one, The Alzheimer's fund there, that was the one I told you that I didn't think we would spend out in full. I was able to, through legitimate expenses, spend $17,020 of that $18,758 grant. Which is technically not all of it, but we're allowed to roll over or carry over 10%. So basically I spent it all and then we'll get everything back in carryover for 2026. So that was good. Good news. I had to dig deep on that one to find some legitimate things to transfer to that program, but we did it. So I was excited about that. That way we don't have to give it to another county to spend. Yep. So like if you look under the management account, you'll see the budget was $365,720. We're at 98.62%, which is pretty close to that final. I don't expect any other expenses. You can see where we went over and where we didn't. We had a health insurance add-on in the middle of the year. Somebody started taking health insurance that wasn't taking it previously. So that liability is something that went up, and you know, that was a number that we get from administration. So out of our control. Copies, I think they increased the copy fee in the middle of the year, so I think that all went up. So pretty much in line otherwise. But to look at how close that really is, 98.62%, I mean, that's pretty darn close. There's not a lot of wiggle room there. And then if we keep flipping, you know, volunteer program, that's a very small amount of money. Volunteer transportation, you can see actually went over budget by 3830. You can look down towards the bottom of the page where it just says transportation, the $30,000 budget. So really what that is reimbursement to our volunteer drivers. So, but while we went over budget there, we also received more in revenue. So it offset that expense. And so I just submitted all of my amendments and my line item transfers. They're not posted yet. But the next time you look at this, you'll see that that was cleaned up because it recognizes that we received more revenue than we had in expense. So I don't need to necessarily go through everything with you, but I just wanted you to understand how to read this so that then if you do have any specific questions, a lot of the area when we were over budget was related to electricity, water, and gas and that sort of thing, which we were paying for half of a year, we were paying for the courthouse still. So that's why those amounts went over, plus electricity, as you know, went up quite a bit. And then with some of the programs that doesn't have any county levy in it, sometimes we just reprioritize, like, okay, we thought we were gonna do more with, let's say the pen pal program, and for some reason, that's not going forward right now, so then we switch our priority to something else. And so then it doesn't have any levy in it, so I just make those line item transfers and we're good there. We had a little bit of rearranging with the health programs for our tri-county setup for health programs with Adams and Green Lake County. So you'll see a little movement there on the budget as we go, but bottom line for county levy, we have a balance of $1,040.70. The closest I've ever been. So that's a pretty tight levy balance, budget.
Okay.
Yeah. The levy is 19.95% when you subtract out indirect expenses. So about 20% of our budget is levy and everything else comes from other funds, including 192,000 for 2020. We received 192,000 in program income or community donations in 2025. And that's a lot. That's a lot of money to be bringing in. So just to point that out. Come on, Eva. Come on in. Yeah, so
Where does that all come from?
the program income. So every time somebody donates for a meal
Okay.
or a fee for transportation or any other use of the programs or services that we have donations and fees for. And then, community contributions is, you know, through a lot of it through the newsletter and things like that. And then that donation of that estate of 22,000, I mean, that's not typical.
Yeah.
but
So
would be
the,
nice.
so the donations from like the meal, that doesn't go back into the meal program?
It does, yeah.
It does flow back through.
Yes, in fact, the requirement is that program income money must be
Go
used
back.
before any other funding,
Okay.
so. But there's a difference between program income and community contributions and, like the estate, so those all have different meanings and different rules related to them. But if you have a meal and you donate $5 for that
Mhm.
meal, that $5 has to be used before any other funding source that I have.
Oh, I see.
Or indirect expenses, if I understand it, it'd be like lights and stuff for the building here, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a rent in a sense, pro by the square footage.
That's all part of it, yeah.
Okay, is that a very fixed thing? I mean, have you ever gotten in a lot of trouble where expenses climbed for the meals, something like that?
It is a very fixed
It is,
thing,
okay.
and, the only reason it's even on our books is because of the ADRC. We can use indirect, and indirect is gonna include Megan's time and Corp Council's time and human resources and all of that. The only reason, because the county doesn't put indirect onto any other budget other than ours. And ours is divided between aging services and ADRC services. And the only reason is because we can use it to draw down that Medicaid. And it brings in between 20 and 25,000 more dollars than we would get if we didn't put that on it. And it's a legitimate expense, but it's put on as a in and out. So it's meaning that we put it on our expense, but we also put it as a revenue, so it's just a wash. That does confuse my brain when we, and I'm still struggling through it, but I'm hoping to get there. So next month, when I bring the final budget, because everything will be final, then, maybe you'll have had time to study, and if you have more questions, just bring them up.
Thank you again for all that work and boggles my mind for sure, so.
There's a lot to it, but yeah, thank you.
And I'm sorry, you just said that March you will have
Yep.
the fine.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I'm, good.
Yeah, because we, like, some of our, like, we haven't even received reimbursement yet from Guar for October, November, or December. Plus, we have the 13th month we haven't even submitted yet, so it just takes a little while.
Yep.
Yeah,
To get through.
Hard to keep all that going and still.
Yeah.
you forget what year you're in sometimes, you know? Yeah.
Very good, thank you. Okay, we're on to unfinished business, discussion possible action on 26 proposed dining center and related transportation schedule and fees.
Right, so we said we would dig into this a little bit deeper at the last meeting, but you all came up with some really good ideas, and I'm gonna pass this around. Val and I have done some talking, and we also went to the transportation committee with the proposed change for transportation. They were very supportive of it, the three regions, rather than that messy little, how did you ever figure this thing out, schedule that we're using. So I'll wait for everyone to get a handout and then oh, yeah. So the ultimate goal in all of this is that we are trying to work collaboratively with changing our transportation schedule. And it's just as a reminder. See if I can find it here. I'm gonna pull out one more of these, just, oh, I don't think I brought it. Never mind. Oh, yeah, I did. Here it is. This was us trying to kind of, make a visual, I'm gonna go all the way around our current transportation schedule, and you can see how it's patchy all over the place. And when we actually drew it down and we were like, holy cow, how does anyone even figure any of
Yeah.
this out, right? So then we started talking, and I'm repeating some of what was said last month, but we decided, what if we just went with a simple plan where you have the east, the center, and the west? Here, let me bring it around. And that's where, when Mary was a part of those conversations, she was like, God, that would be great. We could do Monday through Friday in the center, get 2 days a week. We've always had on the western side of the county. The eastern side has only had 1 day, so they could get 2 days. And so that's how that got developed. And then, we talked to the transportation committee about it, and they really, really liked this idea a lot. Going Monday through Friday really expands the opportunity for people to get better service through transportation, and just makes it cleaner and easier to understand. So then with the meals, we were trying to incorporate within that, how do we have something that makes sense for transportation to meal sites as well? And so last month when we were all talking, I believe it was you, Jay, who said, well, what if we just went with 3, you know, we could have a center.
Yeah.
Yeah, or start closing sites now if, you know, we can just pull the Band-Aid off if it's gonna happen at some point. So this, if you kind of held them up together, obviously, just kind of runs together, right?
Yep.
It's like it makes sense to go with 3 regions rather than 2 regions. Okay, so now I don't have to hold anything up. We're back to where you can see on your sheet. So now, when we draw the little box around Hancock and Coloma there, it doesn't mean Plainfield doesn't have anything. It means that's the western side, and everybody who lives on that western side. It's just showing that the 2 locations are Hancock and Coloma. And Coloma is open on Monday, Wednesday, so Hancock would be open on Tuesday and Thursday. We'd call that West Side Dining. We talked about this last time. On the eastern side, and some of you made comment that we had mentioned that Saxville said that they associate more with Poisippi, and then I believe the comment came up about, and with the Poisippi building being our own, we really need to think to the future about what happens if, and so if at some point we needed to close another site, we close Saxville, those people would then go to Poisippi. So when Val and I were talking after the meeting that we had with you all, we were saying that makes sense because we have to look to the future, not just the present right now where we're at. So then we look at the center, which gets a little bit messier. And the suggestion came from Transportation Committee that we possibly work with GIS to look at like where the bubbles are of usage right now, and then kind of get a better idea from where exactly and how to draw those lines for what's east and what's west. It might not be that straight, perfect line, and I don't think it ever needs to be. You know, we have to be practical about things too. But then that puts those 3 dining centers in the center, and it sets us up for the future as well, so that if we, you know, ended up with just 1 dining center on the east and west, and then maybe 1 or 2 in the center, you know, looking long-term, what's really gonna happen here. Ideally, it'd be awesome if we can afford to, and if people are using the sites to keep them all open, but, you know, that's probably not gonna be the case, so. So just, I'm gonna stop there, and how does this feel to you all as a board? For us to move forward with sort of a 3-region strategy rather than the 4-region strategy.
More practical.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
looks very, very
It kind of makes
thoughtful and makes a
sense.
lot of sense, yeah.
Okay. So then the next step, and Val, do you have any input you wanted to add? Okay. The next step is then kind of looking at the days of the week, and I think I explained last time that Saxville really prefers to go back to Monday and Wednesday and blah, blah, and there's reasons why that doesn't work. So then Valerie and I started thinking about it, like, take the people out of the equation, just look at what makes sense. And one of the things we're looking at trying in March, starting later in March, is the men's only day on Tuesday. Did I bring that up last
Right.
month? Yeah. And I started looking at that, and one of the comments we had gotten at the sustainability meeting was, well, what about the women? You know, they want something to do. And then I started thinking about and Valerie was saying that we're starting to pick up on Tuesdays at Watoma. One of the reasons is though, because the Neshkoro Dining Center closed down, so
Ah.
we're pulling some of those people who are not necessarily our county residents. It's okay, they're allowed to do that. Oh, do you? Okay.
I know some too.
So, and that's all right, but then we were looking at it, it's like, okay, if we do men's only on Tuesday, I'm like, what other option do the women have? Where could they go? Where could the wife go if they also wanna go get a meal that day? And down on the bottom, there's nothing. There's not a Tuesday option for them. And so then we started thinking, okay, we need to look at this sort of, we're just assuming Plainfield will wanna come down to Hancock or Coloma, but Plainfield people might wanna go to Wild Rose as well. So if the western side is open on Tuesday and Thursday, up more towards the middle or north, then it makes sense for Wild Rose to be open on Monday, Wednesday, so that if they're going in that direction. So that's how we're starting to look at things now, and now we're looking at down here, like maybe Red Granite days need to change to a Tuesday, Thursday type possible setup, and that it might make sense for Saxville to stay open on a Tuesday, Thursday instead of a Monday, Wednesday. Because then Wild Rose, if they go that way, they have that option, and if they go to Poisippi, they'd have both options depending on where they live. And with Poisippi is open 4 days a week, and so, they could go on any of the days. So that,
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, so that's how we're starting to look at that, but what is your input?
Is there just no demand on the east side or the west side for Friday? Or what goes on Fridays that there's nothing going on?
Good question. Fridays traditionally have not been a high demand day, just in general. And I don't know why Poisippi has never had Friday as an option, but I think anything is on the table, right? Like, should we have it open on a Friday? But participation on Fridays just at the dining centers for years has just not been.
What if they did fish on Friday?
That's one of the things we've heard is that people go out for fish, so
Right.
they don't want to
Yeah.
go to
I was just
out for
curious
lunch as
because,
well.
because all three of the dining centers in the central all have Friday.
Yeah,
And then nothing on the
Yeah.
two sides.
that's,
I would sure think that would I'd say like, okay, Saxville, we're closing you down and we're going Monday through Friday at Poisippi because we own it.
yeah, and I mean, that might be a decision that we end up making. The sad part of that would be if Saxville is one of the sites that's doing really, really
Yeah.
well, but,
Sorry, Jay.
No.
Nothing against Saxville.
That's right, it's out of my area, so.
but no, what you just said is exactly how we need to be thinking. Like, not just about right now, but that future, and you're right, and we talked about Fridays. Should we, do we just transition out of Fridays altogether? Do we put a Friday on the western side? Or western and eastern side? Those are all the questions to be made, or, decisions to be made. So we wanted your input on that as well, but I mean, down to like which specific days, we can work that out ourselves. I mean, we can get to the bottom of it. We're putting a questionnaire out to the people. She's doing her annual questionnaire. She's gonna tack those things onto it. But getting this kind of feedback, because that's what made us switch from a 4 region to a 3 region. So we want you to speak up and say what you think.
I think it makes, it's common sense.
What did Mary think about it? She likes it,
From a transportation
Yeah.
standpoint, yeah, she does.
and you don't mind it now?
You changed your mind.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta put the meals out anyway, right?
Right,
Where it
right.
goes. is-
Yep.
I think we need to be realistic. If we can maintain all 7 dining centers, great. There's gonna be a day though that we can't. They're either not gonna be coming or we don't have enough money, and then we have to make a decision. And so we're setting ourselves up for being able to make that decision
Yep.
easier, I think.
Are you still looking at contingencies then, like restaurant-based meals like that? Okay.
Yes, that's the other thing. So in this, then we have our plan that if we start we need to write down what is our process, our policy for prioritizing where we keep traditional dining open. Like, what is that plan? So we can do that, and we'll do that. But then in addition, what are we transitioning to as a new dining experience, sort of I think the reason why it's so hard for us with the dining centers or home delivered meals is because we know how valuable the program is. But for some reason, people aren't currently taking advantage of it because they want a different style and we haven't figured out exactly yet what that new modern approach is for some people. Some people like the traditional and other people don't, but we know that the program is really meaningful and valuable and important from a healthy aging standpoint. So we have to spend some time working on what is that new thing, what is it, you know? So this kind of a plan gives us sort of that time to continue to look at what we currently have, knowing that we're gonna end up transitioning to some of the other things potentially. And also knowing we only have so much money to work with, so how do we do that within the budget? But yeah. One of the things that came up at the nutrition sustainability group meeting was the potential of having a punch card of some kind, where if they go to other dining centers, like if they go to so many dining centers, like somehow it's tied to going to other dining centers and they get a punch, and then maybe they get a free meal or something like that, some incentive. So that we continue to, you know, we try to do it through transportation. Hey, we'll give you a free ride, but it didn't necessarily mean a whole lot in the end. But we want to continue to get people comfortable going to other sites because that way, you know, it'll help all the sites, but then also if we do need to make some change, then they're comfortable going to a different site.
Dining center passport.
There you go.
Do you have like gift cards people can buy?
We do, yeah. Mhm. So feedback on that idea? Did you see that helping maybe?
It push it, I mean, it's something that you can make kind of into a game, you know?
Yeah.
Incentivize, you know, checking out other places and
Yeah.
then once you're there, you know, it's like everything else. Once you go once, then it's like, hey, oh, I like it.
Right, I didn't know.
I like the people over here a lot better. This is some fresh guys, you know?
We have a lot of that happening right now where people will visit different sites.
I will
I
say
know
that,
They had to like for transportation, but
right?
you know, putting the transportation aside, because we didn't get a lot of people that really asked for transportation to
Correct.
other sites.
We have a handful plus of people that are using transportation to occasionally go to another site. Prior to us doing the regionalization, though, we had pretty much zero
That's what they
movement
told us.
through transportation. We got a few people. So we thought maybe if we try something like that incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might-
That we might, and then they're more used to it so that when change comes, they say, well, at least I can still go to Wild Road,
Right.
you know?
it won't be such a shock. You know?
Yeah, right.
It's a
They
good
won't be
idea.
as angry because they know that they have friends over at another site. So,
And that gets into socialization too.
yeah,
That's one of our points of
Yeah.
making sure people get, so,
yeah, exactly.
and they don't even know it.
I wanted to, oh,
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
We did something on a smaller scale like that for A+,
Okay.
where it was a family night and we had community groups come in and set up tables and they had tickets. And as they went to each table,
Sure.
they got us, but we all had a special color for our booth.
Yeah,
And that was one of our most successful. We had so much fun. I picked up volunteers. There were a lot of people that wanted information on the food pantry, but didn't know how to go about doing it.
okay,
They set up it was really nice.
yeah,
And it makes me think of that,
yeah,
you know, and you're right, once they get out there, they see I didn't know you went there, I didn't know you,
right,
you know.
right,
I think it'd be a great, something to look forward to.
yeah,
I
okay,
think it could be fun.
good, good.
Yeah, so.
The other part of this conversation I wanted to get your feedback on then is the fees to dining centers. So I brought it up to transportation as well, and I am not gonna share what they said because I want to see how you respond, but so within our region, if we stick with the free, right now we have free transportation to dining centers when your site is open typically or within your region. So if on this side of the county, we provide transportation on Monday and Thursday, would we still then provide free transportation to the meal site on Monday and Thursday? But any other day of the week, we either have a different fee for it, or we just say it's not available. We just don't do it. At least we don't do it through the minibus. Because the minibus is gonna be busy in the center Monday through Friday, and on other days over here on this side. So what is your feedback related to that? You can understand what I'm throwing out there?
I think we have to stick with not offering it,
Okay,
you know, because then, well, we've worked so hard to get this and we're looking at it also just to save money too, and gold.
yeah,
And then if we say, okay, we're gonna take you over here and cross over on different days, we've sort of defeated what we are trying to get, you
Yeah.
know, our goal.
right.
I don't know how many people would that affect though.
Well, there's not that many people that use transportation,
That
so,
would be a big hardship.
yeah. So we started trying to think about, should we have a rate so that, but then it was like, but you're right, like if our buses are over here and one person wants to from here, Plainfield, if I'm on the right side,
Right.
go to, you know, Coloma's Dining Center, that's a huge
Yep.
amount of time to get from one location to another.
Yeah.
So we,
You wear on the bus.
what's that?
You'd wear out the bus. if
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
did that Too long.
Yeah,
I mean, you just put on tons of miles.
yeah. So what I'm hearing then is that you would say Monday through Friday, within these three dining centers, it would be available. Cause they're, whatever day they're open. And in their area or the closest site. But on the east and west, again, it would be the same thing, whenever they're open. And to the closest site, I mean, there'd only be one site, but, and that transportation would be free. As it's been in the past. And then we would just say, if you're calling on a Wednesday and you live in Plainfield, we would just say it's not available on that day.
It becomes very complicated if you do anything besides what you're talking about.
I think so too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and how do we feel about the free, continue to go with free transportation to dining centers? Again, there's not that many people that use it. I mean, there's like a half dozen or less that use it sporadically, not even on a regular basis.
Do you think that those people who are using it now, if it's not available, will keep going on their own? Or
There are some people who use it because they don't drive. I mean, they just don't drive. Like Wild Rose especially has, yeah, they have a good number. I don't know if you know how many, but like 5 or
I think
something.
4 to 5 people,
Yep.
yeah.
Some walk, some go on bike, dining center now.
I
Yeah.
guess one thing you might want to consider is, we have a handful of people that would use transportation or have in the past. And so now we're asking them to pay or contribute money for their meal. And then if we charge them for transportation, is that gonna be too much for them?
I think that's why we've always provided the free.
I think we should stick with the free as long as we only have a handful of people. It's not gonna like, you know, increase our costs that much.
Okay.
I mean, is it something that, you know, I mean, everything's a suggested donation anyway, right?
Transportation is actually a fee.
Okay,
It's the only program we have where there is a fee.
so could there be just a suggested donation, like there's a suggested donation for the meal,
Or transportation,
for that, for
or
that?
dining center transportation.
Yes.
Could be. I can't come up with a reason why there couldn't be.
Would there be enough participation to make it worthwhile? I mean, if you only had one or two people doing it, is it?
A good point. Yeah, I mean, again, it's very sporadic, so.
Could you do a questionnaire type thing and say, would you be willing to? And if you get 50-60% that said sure they would, then you could implement this or
Yeah, and maybe we could
I
even
mean-
just speak with those people directly,
Right.
you know?
see if they could without breaking their piggy bank or,
Right,
you know, whatever.
right. Yeah,
Because due to everything else going up,
yeah,
we like doing this, we want to do this, but we can't.
yeah,
I mean, we're just not enough money to go around.
yeah. Yeah, I think we could certainly get some feedback from the people using transportation right now. It might just be easier to call them up and talk to them.
Well, yeah, one way or the other, I mean,
Mhm.
don't have to go through the paperwork if you can call them or in person, go a certain day and say, hey, how would you feel about this?
Yeah,
You know,
okay. So for right now, then, should we keep it the same where there's no
Yeah.
I
cost?
think so.
Yeah.
And then we'll work on getting some feedback over the next couple of months
Sure.
and then
Yeah.
see, bring it back if there's reason to for, yeah, okay.
Try it.
Is everyone kind of in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay. I made notes just to make sure. Yeah, I think that was it. Are there any other thoughts or do you, and Val, if you have anything you want to ask or bring up, but does this board then give Val and I permission to just move forward with setting the days and figuring it out and when we make the transition and all that stuff?
I think so.
Is there anything, Val, that you wanted to?
I don't think so. I guess, thank you for the idea of even, looking at it differently.
I think it's the best plan that we have. We have to have something to work with, I think.
And then as far as attendance, that'll all figure itself out.
Exactly.
And you'll be able to look at the numbers and they'll just,
Yep,
obvious.
we're down to 3 or 4 people. We're not gonna be able to
Yep,
keep this.
They
same.
made that decision then,
Yep,
not
exactly,
you,
exactly.
You don't get,
right?
Yeah, well, I still probably get that, but, but I'll feel okay about it.
I mean, you held on to Plainfield as long as you
Yeah.
could. That just was not feasible at all.
Right. Yeah, and then we're excited about some of the new things that we want to try, too, like the men's lunch and getting the feedback that we did at the nutrition sustainability. Took us off guard. Honestly, it was pretty strong. But then we were talking and we're like, well, we actually have contract with Watoma for Monday through Friday. If we did Tuesdays for men, maybe on Fridays, because we're not open on Fridays right now at Watoma, maybe we could do a women's thing on Friday and, so now it just opens up some doors and start thinking, and we want to bring the grilling. We bought a grill with that money that we received last year, so we want to start doing some fresh grilling at the sites and things like that, so. It allows us opportunity, I think, to start looking ahead in that way too, rather than just sticking with this traditional dining, so.
Would that be like something we would do on a one-time thing, or would it be something that if it went well, we could continue? Or
Which
is our-
part of what I
lunch
said?
For men or the luncheon for women?
Yeah, I mean, we think we're gonna roll forward with piloting it for men, starting with men, and maybe for like 6 weeks or something, 4 to 6 weeks, 8 weeks. But yes, if it goes well, then why would we stop it, Yeah, and same with if we did it for the women, so.
Yeah.
We may be calling you all to see if you can help.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you this.
Yes.
On Fridays at Watoma,
Okay,
you would get a good handful because there's several of us that play mahjong.
okay.
And then several of us would go for lunch and then stay. We're there till 3:00.
Oh,
Cause we play from 12:30 to 2:30, 3:00,
okay,
whenever we wanna quit.
okay.
And there was several of us that would go for lunch and then stay. So I know that at least you'd get a good handful on Fridays. And we now have more people coming, hopefully, because we're teaching a class. We started Monday, teach another class for mahjong, and we have a waiting list. Well, you can still sign up. We have
I've
a
been
waiting list.
dying to find somebody to teach me how to do that.
At the library, Diane Hughes.
Okay, got it.
Great turnout.
Good.
Okay, thank you for the input on that.
Well, that kind of rolls us right into the internal programming idea.
Yep, correct, and we are coming up with some ideas. We kind of want to get a plan at least through the summer. But before, we can share some of our thoughts, but does anybody have any ideas that they wanted to bring up? Jeannie?
I do, so my brain's been kind of going in all different directions, so I'd really appreciate some thoughts, some feedback on something that I kind of tripped on. It seems like in the last year or so, I've had so many people say things about, oh, we had our family recipe that Aunt Bernice made on Thanksgiving and Christmas, and all these people talking about family recipes. So I started thinking, remember how groups used to get together and make the cookbooks? And actually, three of my favorites are ones that were our family did a cookbook. My mom has a huge family, and two church cookbooks. So from there, I started doing a little research and I thought, been there, done that. And do people even use cookbooks anymore? And, so I started trying to think of what else could we do that could get people involved of maybe a pop-up, maybe a fundraiser. So one of the things that we've been doing with the Pen Pals is I've had the opportunity to be in the middle. So I'm here when the volunteers are all getting their mail and doing their letters. And I'm also there when I see those kids getting their mail and striving so hard to write out one word. And so it started thinking of the letters. Well, as I started doing a little research, I was tripping on legacy letters. It made me think of your the fundraiser, or what do you call the legacy part where people can be put into their wills?
What do they call that? It's like legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I started seeing a lot about legacy letters, and that was where people would have like a time when the community would get together. They would have lawyers there, doctors, whatever, and people would come in and work on their letters. They would have guidance of how to write them to include. Well, from there, then I started going back to the Pen Pal letters, and I did a little research and I ran into an article that was from 2021, and it was CBS in Minnesota. And they did a special on handwritten letters. And it came up at 2021 that 30% of adults hadn't written a letter by hand in the last 5 years. 15% of adults had never written a hand letter. And then I say, well, yeah, we looked into it and thought, well, that's a generational thing. People aren't 65 and older, only a third of people survey had written a handwritten letter in the last year. So I started thinking about these letters. The kids are saving them. The kids are saving the cards. I see the volunteers there with their letters and the things that the kids are making them talking about their pictures are on the refrigerator. And I see that multi-generational and how important those stories are. We've been doing this for probably 6-7 years, the Pen Pals. So some of the ideas that I started thinking about was, how could we do this? Could we do something like a pop-up? Would it just be a fun thing to draw people in? I'm looking into like a kit that you would have with guidance for them. If people haven't written letters in a long time, so they'd feel more comfortable, the steps of writing a letter, the heading, the main body, etc. I thought of, could we turn this into a community fundraiser? Could we have one night and get the word out ahead of time and have people coming in and just documenting family story that they want to pass on? Or one of the things they talked about was words of wisdom. I learned this because of what mom taught me or grandma taught me, and passing it on to the next generations. Another thing that I've noticed and have heard so many people of our generation is that our families are spread apart. The kids are spread apart more so than when we were growing up. Aunt Christine and Uncle Richie were across the street. Grandma lived next door to them. Uncle Henry and Aunt Deanne were 2 blocks away. We grew up, my mom's family was huge, and I knew all of my 92 cousins that I had on my mom's side. We grew up together. Well, now when we have family reunions, they're all going, one of my kids is in California and one's here. And so that disconnect between the generations kept coming back to me. I think of some of the people that could be in our program that don't have connections. Do they have someone to help them make those connections? So again, my brain's all over the place. Is this a fundraiser? Is this a one-night community event where we could get our ADRC information out? And then it would be just a fun thing to do that night. Would it be something with the pop-ups? Would we have these kits set up, the guide that I'm calling a kit? Throw an ADRC pen in there, you know, do something, some information of ADRC. Would it just be a one-time thing at each individual site? I've got my head's all over the place and I don't know, anybody, any thoughts of it?
I think it's a great idea as far as, you're right, people don't write letters anymore.
No.
And then I was thinking, okay, then you're gonna have people that are illiterate. Okay, let's get the high school involved. Let's get kids, the high school kids, maybe to volunteer to scribe for people. Maybe we can have some of our community business partners or organization just come one night and scribe for them. That's another connection for somebody. Do we include somehow the legacy part of the donations to the ADRC? Is this a donation? Is this just connecting people with the community? Is it both?
But your mind's just been going.
It's been all over the place. It really has, because I really see that, I mean, this pen pal thing's been, oh my gosh, at Christmas time, the kids decorated and made picture frames. We took their pictures and put them in. If you could have been standing out here, and I keep looking at Mary Pat because she's one of them, and Paul is as well. If you could have seen the faces when they were opening all it, they're all showing each other their pen pals, and one was cuter than the other. And it was the same with the kids. You know, I always tell them my story about one year they opened up the volunteers have their pictures taken and the kids get their picture. And the kids opened them up and one of my kids went, "Hey, I got an old guy." That's my husband. It was so funny. I mean, and then they started looking, oh, mine's old too. But it was so precious. And
What
then,
had they been visualizing them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kids are now out of the program, so.
and one of the kids asked this time, well, wait a minute, where does my pen pal live? And I said, in Watoma, I think in Watoma around it. And then he was looking at the picture and looking at me, he said, well, then why are we writing? Why don't I just call, or why can't we just, you know?
Yeah.
And we started talking many times through the years. The kids don't have grandparents here. Not all of them, but a great deal of them. A lot of the volunteers, their grandkids aren't around, or they're grown and off on their own. So I just feel that need in the community. I don't know, anybody thoughts? I know I just dumped it on you, but.
I thought you were gonna say in lieu of flowers, make check payable too.
I think it's a really good idea. I think we would have to work out a lot of the pieces of it that we would do separately outside of this meeting, this type of meeting, but, we're gonna have to talk at some point in time about donations versus contributions versus fundraising. And the state is starting to really put in writing what they expect and what we're not allowed to do. That being said, it's a really good idea about writing. I don't know how you would get people to come to it necessarily because,
Well, that's why I think I was thinking the pop-up events.
yeah, tying it to
Would
something.
somehow be
Yeah.
tied in. And maybe even if some of us went and volunteered to scribe, because I know you're gonna have people that aren't gonna say anything because it's embarrassing to be a grown adult and not know how to read.
I don't
and
think
write.
you'll get those people to show up.
But if we somehow,
I mean, it'd be a
Let 'em-
long-term goal.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, you
I mean,
know
we
better
do
than
have
me.
some of those people who come to us on a regular basis. And we read their mail and we help them do some things. They're very few, but they're not gonna come to some public meeting, I can tell you that.
Okay.
So,
What about if we got the kid too?
yeah, well, maybe.
I thought of that too, going, sending them home with the Meals on Wheels, but for what? Then they have to get them out to somebody,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
It's interesting that you bring this type of pop-up idea to the table. Because, you know, we're going to do some of the traditional pop-ups like we did last year, just fun music, potato bars, whatever. But, we also were looking at tying it to something educational this year. For example, we're not sure we're gonna do this yet, but we're in discussions about it. But the caregiver program is doing a skills fair. And at first, we were just trying to talk about how do we recruit people to come to the skills fair and what are they doing? And then all of a sudden, we were like, well, what if we tied it to a pop-up somehow? Because it shouldn't be just for people in caregiving roles right now. It should be for everybody learning what it's like, because we're all gonna be a caregiver at some point in time, or you're gonna be the one somebody's caring for, right? So we should start learning those skills now. And then how can we make some fun? How can we put a fun element into it? So that's kind of what you're saying too, is do something more
Yeah.
educational than,
Yeah.
yeah, and tie it
Yeah.
together somehow, yeah.
I mean, what about a pop-up where you do the legacy letters and see if we can get some lawyers to come in and be there and maybe talk a little bit about legacy, right? You know?
So that's where we'd have to be really careful, but
Oh,
those all
yeah,
kind
I
of
don't
things
know
we've
that.
been.
I'm thinking out
But
loud.
the idea I think is definitely one we should keep on the table and talk about. But what are your thoughts on it? What do you guys think? Would people come?
I think that, oh, I'm sorry.
No, no,
Go ahead,
go ahead, no, you go.
Well, the idea about having it at a pop-up, you know, the one where we had the pop-up and we had the music
Mhm.
and people were involved with that. That I think it might be workable. You're not necessarily having lawyers there or anything like that, but just talk about it. You know, have someone just talk about it and give us information about it and not necessarily hold like a workshop
Oh,
on
I see, just
You know
get
what
the
I mean?
idea out
it.
there.
Yeah,
And you could have maybe we could even find out if anybody would be.
well, then maybe you could have a follow-up. You know,
Right.
first introduce
The
the theme
idea.
and the idea
Yep,
at one of the pop-ups.
Yep.
And then maybe follow up with a more detailed
that's a good idea.
workshop.
And I think I'm also talking about like three different things. Having the lawyers and coming in, I was thinking of that more as a community event where we could have ADRC out, you know, in the front of it or organizing it or however you want to say it. And then get the community involved and then, so you charge $5 a packet or whatever, and then it could be a fundraiser that way. So I'm thinking of it, that's why I've said I'm all over the place. But I think it's multiple things that I'm actually thinking.
You have to be careful when you bring attorneys in or somebody like that looking like the EDRC is endorsing those people.
Oh, yep.
The neutrality thing is,
Yes.
it's extreme. Your idea is a really good idea about writing, about the concept. Let's continue to kind of think about how we could potentially do something related to it.
Instead of a fundraiser, call it a fundraiser.
Yeah. They're tightening things up so tight. I don't even know, like, for example, our newsletter, you know how we have the coupon on page 11? If you like.
Yeah.
We might not even be allowed to do that. moving
Right.
forward, so, yeah. So, but really good idea, and I just know with the interest of time that we, probably, I love the idea though, we should talk about it, yeah. We could get together and talk about it more.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have to organize my brain too.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it is when you start looking into that stuff and I'm tying in experience and then I go back to the kids and then I go, you know.
It's like doing a house project. You start at this thing and then it leads to that thing. and it leads to that thing. Next thing you know, the refrigerator's apart.
Do you think people would come and want to revisit writing letters again? Like I saw you shaking your head when she was talking about that. It's a lost art, right? But do you think it's a lost art that is just lost, or do you think?
I personally don't think so.
Okay.
Because of how the experiences that I've had, I guess it's also a family thing for us. I still write to my aunts, and my uncle, one of my uncles had cancer 3 years ago. And, I was sending him letters every week or two and writing notes. And when we had the family reunion that year, he came right up to me and gave me a big hug, and he said, "You will never know what that was like. People just don't take the time." That was in that survey. Do people not have the time? And what they found is they just don't take the time. Social media is also in there, and they said, well, you know, people connect on Facebook. Do they? You know, when they send pictures of what they had for lunch or what their dog's wearing, is that really a connection, you know? And they also said getting a handwritten letter is more that you're taking the time, but it feels personal. It feels like a connection.
So it might be something we do
So
more as
many
a social isolation type of effort.
That's why I was thinking the Meals on, how do we do Meals on Wheels? Are those the people that are isolated?
A lot of them are, yeah.
How do we, but then
Start
what with their
writing
letter?
What do you mean?
Well, if we say have this packet of information, how to get started, how to do it, ideas, prompts to do it,
Mhm.
and we give them this information and they write their letters, then do we say, okay, we'll mail them for you, or?
Well, that's where I think we have to
Yeah.
we have to sit around a table
Yeah.
and talk about all that
Yeah,
stuff.
sorry, I'm
Yeah.
taking too much.
No, it's.
See,
okay.
that's how it just goes off.
It's really good. It's really good. It's a really good idea. Doesn't everyone think it's a really good idea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we do need to go along.
Yep, sorry, America.
Thinking, but that's good. And I think that could be a future agenda item again too.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to new business. Any other unfinished business first? No, moving on then. Input into nutrition program reorganization.
Let's do this one quickly, and then if you want to table the next one, we could, one more month probably, but, so I mentioned it last month that I proposed that we're going to, recommend eliminating the kitchen supervisor position once, as well as retiring. That then needs to be put into a resolution and brought to the county board. So my thoughts are, that position is eliminated, but we enhance the lead worker's role, but we keep it part-time, but we enhance it. So an updated job description. We need to hire an additional kitchen assistant. We need to hire an additional substitute. We need to look at Valerie's position and look at her job description, and then also talk about somewhere increasing her hours up to, full-time, potentially. And then, within that, some of the other thoughts that I had were potentially having a lead site manager who could do some of the training with other site managers, some of the work on welcoming environment at the other sites, some things like that. But then as Val and I were talking about it a little bit more, it also, help with pop-ups come up as well. This coordination of home delivered meal assessments and reassessments, I look at what takes up a lot of Valerie's time and how could we feed that to somebody else so that she can be free to be more at the kitchen once in a while more, and doing that higher level of food quality and new menu items and the things that we want to work towards. So I look at potentially a site manager lead, but maybe it's not just a site manager lead, maybe it's something else that takes on some of the coordination of assessments and pop-up events and things like that, not in full, but at least, helping with that stuff. And then, so one area where we struggle now is with keeping our vehicles clean and who's doing that. Like how, where, who, how much do we need to budget for that? We don't really budget for cleaning the vehicles, and nobody wants to do it.
Right.
So I really wanted your input and thoughts on especially that area, but anything, that's kind of where I'm leading to with this reorganization, is just small changes, but why are you smiling?
No, I'm just. cleaning, I can think, this can be an issue or something like that,
Yeah.
especially food issues.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I know. And so, I mean, we get them cleaned, but not as often as we probably should.
Who does it now?
Mostly either the drivers
Right.
themselves or the kitchen staff for those vehicles, and then the minibus drivers. We have that to do it for them. But, is that something we look at as some type of an outside contract? I don't even know who would be available for something like that.
Isn't the, our own department here have?
Facilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered about that too. Would they take that on as
Well, I
a,
know they got like a truck cleaning station there.
oh, you mean out
Highway
highway?
department?
Highway.
Okay. At the highway department?
So,
They
then
pull
we,
their trucks in and they clean them.
well, the outside, right?
Yeah, the bottom, everything.
Yeah, we use that
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
for the exterior. We're talking about
Oh,
vacuuming.
just only interior?
Yeah,
What about a volunteer? And how often does it have to be done?
frequently,
Yeah, like,
I don't know that we'd find volunteers who wanna do that, you think?
actually, I can think of one.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
It might have to be available on a regular basis, on a scheduled basis, I would think.
Yeah,
So volunteer. would be different.
Right. But there might be people that want to give back in some way that, say, I'll do it the first week of the month, you do it the second week. Who coordinates the volunteers? Is that
what fall under probably some Val or somebody.
dumping another job
Yeah.
on you?
I want to call those,
Sorry.
is it like pressure washing inside the vehicles?
But if they can pull it in and get the outside done, then it's just somebody cleaning out the inside.
It's primarily just vacuuming.
Vacuuming.
How often would you,
Trash put away.
how often would you want it done?
I mean, ideally, once a month would be,
That's all?
yeah, but we have,
Currently, we have, 7 vehicles, but
we'll be getting rid of one probably.
6
So-
vehicles.
And then we have all minibus vehicles too.
And are they pulled in one spot then, or are they left at the certain,
They're all in one.
they're all
Right.
in one place?
Right, so
Where-
right now they're parked in a garage over by the old highway department,
Okay.
and then it's a
A
matter.
really dirty, dark.
That's
Scary,
the,
creepy.
that's
It's
the
hard to
garage.
see the dirt in there when you're vacuuming, so.
Are they going to be moved at any?
No.
No, that's,
they are.
that's the location.
We're grateful, we're great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, we're still working.
Working outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're still gonna cleaning, but I mean, I just wanted to put it out there because I'm gonna start writing it up and then looking at the numbers and looking at the schedule for the kitchen. Are there other thoughts related to, I mean, this is the time for us to think creatively about how we could save money, but also accomplish the things we're trying to do.
I mean, it's not like throughout my life, I worked at several different positions where you utilized a vehicle and it was always your responsibility to
yeah.
leave the vehicle the way
Yeah.
you received it, right? I mean, is that too much to ask for the drivers? I mean, I see, you said like the bus drivers, I mean, it may not be like detailing it, but emptying the trash and,
Sweeping the
if there's
floor.
facilities in the garage, if there's a garbage can in the garage, that they can take their little garbage can and,
Put it in there.
check the vehicle through. I don't see that that's like asking that much, that you need to have somebody tasked to scheduling, cleaning. It may be, once a month, you might have to have somebody
Yeah,
vacuum it out.
Do a
But
better job.
Just the initial.
yeah, keeping the trash can
The minimal.
emptied and, yeah,
minimal part.
right,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, we've done it a variety of ways where we have had the drivers, they have been willing and able to do that. Some drivers really just don't like doing it at all, and there for a while when we had a hard time even recruiting drivers, you didn't wanna be
Yeah.
Making them do.
giving them a good reason to leave.
Chasing them away.
Yeah, exactly, so, but we've always been able to identify one or two people who've been willing to do it, so then we use them to
Just
do
a
it.
thought come to my mind.
Yeah.
4-H groups throughout the county they're expected to do
Community
community service.
High school too.
Would that be something that you could
Mhm.
ask the 4-H clubs, hey, how about your community service project, cleaning the van
Uh-huh.
once a month? Each you know, say the eastern part, western, central.
Yeah,
They wouldn't have to do it that often,
yeah,
like once or twice a year each club. I think
Yeah.
there's 15 or 16 clubs.
okay.
Would they have to drive the vehicles to do it?
Well, that'd be the only thing, the availability of getting these kids, because a lot of them don't have driver's license. It'd be up to the parents to do that, but I would think the parents would help the kids promote their 4-H activity.
It's a
Or if
great
there's some high school groups that have to do community service, say,
Yeah,
I mean,
Plus too.
okay.
And they've got a
something like
band,
that,
yeah.
and see where that went. If you got enough,
Yeah.
it'd be great. If you didn't, well, we gotta dig deeper and go
Okay.
further.
Yeah,
Okay.
get in touch with the new 4-H
Yeah, the new coordinator.
coordinator down at Extension.
Yeah,
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Just a thought.
yeah, that's a really good idea. And this is why we bring it to the table, right? Yeah, if you have any other thoughts on the reorg, otherwise I will bring it obviously back in a resolution form for you to review and to provide input on, but I thought I'd ask before I write it, rather than after the fact, then, yeah, so,
Keeping thinking caps on.
right.
And how long will it take? What time is it? 11:30. Strategic plan outline, goals.
All right, to do that discussion in
Great.
full, probably in 10 to 15 minutes, so we can.
Oh, thanks, Al.
There's a 8-minute video we wanted to show and then also have some discussion on it. So I mean, if I'm fine with tabling it, if you guys want to table it or bring it to the next meeting or give it some time and attention.
Well, that'll be, I think, up to everyone. I always thought we were supposed to be trying to get done by 12, but
It's really 11:30.
it's
Yeah.
11:30.
And I apologize for having to jump out early.
No, it's.
I am still actively working and they kind of
Yeah.
look at me cross-eyed. They didn't even take off this morning.
Still kinda, what's that mean?
Tomorrow morning, they don't know it, but I have a meeting too, so.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely up to you. I'm, whatever you want to do.
I'll throw it out to the board, members. What do you think?
Why don't we just table it, because we have that video to watch and we want some discussion after it.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, then. Agree with everybody? We don't need to vote on that one.
I do have just one question, though. It's the discussion of the pop-up ideas. We didn't really get into that much. That's something we should.
That's what it was.
That was the way, that was okay.
Did you have another idea on that?
No, I just thought maybe there's more ideas that you were gonna put out, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're just trying to gather all the ideas and then kind of make a plan for 2026. So,
Those are really well received.
Thanks.
Yeah.
The community really enjoys them.
yeah, I know,
It's nice.
it is, yeah.
I wish we could parlay that into more attendance at the dining centers. Be great.
Well, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
that might happen, but,
And is Hancock even gonna be open this year? We don't even know, right?
well, they are right now.
Right.
And actually, their numbers have started to increase.
Wow,
Yeah,
awesome.
I don't know if it'll stay, but,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, we'll take what we can get.
yeah, right. So, but yeah, we can spend more time talking about that.
I just thought maybe there was more out there.
Yeah. Right now, we're gathering the input and then we want to make a plan and we'll come back and say, hey, what do y'all think?
Sure.
Anything else from anyone? Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you all for coming.